Today, we have the privilege of touring our client Sam's brand new 550 square feet, 2-bedroom detached garden suite here on the Hamilton Mountain. We're going to go through the entire process with you, from design to permits to construction, and we're going to break down the entire cost to build, so you want to stick around to the very end. Thanks for watching. This is Andy from Suite Additions. If you're new here, we're an architectural design company helping homeowners and investors create more housing units and generate long-term wealth using the Max Suite strategy. Over the years, we've completed many small-scale infill projects and helped over 400 clients legally convert their homes to multiple units, boosting cash flow and house value. Additionally, we have a comprehensive Max Suite strategy in-person training program and investor community. Our next session is coming up, so if you're interested, please check out the details in the description below. Also, it would help us out if you can give us a like and subscribe so that we can get this message out to more people. Sam, thanks so much for inviting us to your awesome garden suite here.
For sure, Andy. Nice to have you here.
Yeah.
It's always a pleasure.
Thank you so much. Okay, so we're at the property. Obviously, we're in the garden suite here.
Right.
We have the main house, which is a detached 1.5 story home. Right now, it's single family, but eventually that's going to be 2 units. With the garden suite, that's 3 units in total.
Exactly.
That is definitely a Max Suite property.
100%.
So, before we get into the tour, first of all, Sam, why don't you give us a little background about, how you got into real estate, on the investing side. You're also a realtor, and also you're a Tarion registered builder. So why don't you give us a little background there?
Yeah, for sure. So, Andy, we'll take it a little farther back. Right after high school, went to university, like every other student, I would say. Went right here in Hamilton to McMaster, studied engineering. Soon after graduating, realized that I don't think the office work and the office life is for me. Yeah. I much rather prefer working in the field, seeing how houses go up, working in the construction side of things. This is definitely a passion for me for quite some time. Met some family members who have been in the rental real estate business for over 30 years in the States. Learned a lot of the ins and outs about the business from them. Went ahead, got my realtor license, secured my first property right here in Hamilton as well. And this house was a true horror film house, full gut condition, straight out of the 1900s. Never been updated since.
It's the best way to do it, right? Jump right into the deep end.
Exactly, yeah. So it was really jumping right into the deep end, doing a lot of the work myself, flooring, drywall, painting, you name it. We'd done it all. And from there, got into the building aspect of things and seeing how new houses come up and the development side of things, multifamily, how we can segregate existing houses into more units and affordable housing to meet the demand. Right. And from there, the rest is history. Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's amazing. Thanks for sharing. And, it's definitely an interesting story, right? We know a lot of people that have graduated and realize that
exactly.
That field that they went into in school is not necessarily for them. But you benefited because you had an engineering background. I'm sure that really helped you from the construction side of things.
For sure. It really gives you an analytical aspect of how you can see things convert from a paper drawing into a real life house like this.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Do you mind sharing with us a little bit about this property itself?
Sure.
It's a fairly wide lot. It's not very deep, but it is a wide lot. Right. The house footprint is not huge. It's a 1.5 story. So we had enough space for a detached garden suite. But because of the depth, we were only able to get 550 square feet.
That's correct.
We managed to squeeze in 2 legal bedrooms in here and a really nice big open concept room kitchen. Right. So why don't you tell us a little bit about kind of your thought process when you were looking at this property and your decision to move forward with?
Right. So Andy, with a lot of these properties for garden suites is that we're really looking for a house with a decent sized lot, but not an overly big house on it. And the reason is that we can kind of maximize the footprint using the garden suite and the existing house, and that way we're not capturing 100% of the lot, but we still have a fair amount of living space on the lot. Right.
Thanks for sharing all that information.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm very excited to tour this place. Let's go.
We got our washer dryer right here. Nice little condo suite.
Okay, and so this is a 24-inch.
That's exactly it. Yeah, it's a 24-inch washer dryer combo.
Perfect size for a garden suite.
I think so.
Yeah. So we have a beautiful 3-piece bathroom here. Nice big vaulted ceilings. Tell us a little bit about this space here.
For sure, Andy. So this bathroom 3-piece, we got a vanity, toilet, our tub and shower area. We got a nice little frosted window for that natural sunlight right in the mornings. If you look at this specific window, different from the other windows in the entire house, it's wider there. Exactly. So there's actually a 2x4 wall that sits right in front of the 2x6 wall in this particular wall cavity. And the reason for that is that the entire plumbing for this bathroom, as well as the wash dryer, sits in that 2x4 wall. And the 2x6 wall is 100% insulated top to bottom, closed cell foam, spray foam insulation. which acts as a vapor barrier plus insulation, and allows for no freezing in the pipes that cater to all these various different vanity toilet and shower here.
Yeah, so that's a very important point, because we like to have the bathroom in a lot of cases close to the exterior wall.
Right.
But if you have those pipes in the stud cavity, there's a risk of freezing, even with spray foam. Right?
Exactly.
So essentially a dummy wall here that you're able to install to kind of mitigate the risk of freezing. So let's have a look at the kitchen. So tell us a little bit about why you decided to go with these appliances, and then just the overall layout here.
For sure. So we're really trying to maximize the space and utility in this kitchen. We weren't able to get a whole lot of cabinets, which is why we really wanted to maximize using a 24-inch stove, getting bigger cabinets on the side, having a 24-inch countertop fridge, 24-inch dishwasher, but also having a good amount of cabinets for storage around. So if you look on this wall, we have 3 dedicated cabinets here. We have a 24-inch range hood as well as stove. The beauty about these 24-inch stoves is that they still have 4 burners, they still have a full functioning stove and a full functioning drawer at the bottom. So they actually lose no functionality. In this specific area, we tried keeping the sink as close to the window as possible, so you would get natural light while washing the dishes and cooking. And this whole area is also lit up just with natural light. And obviously ventilation in the months that you really want to open the windows and get some fresh air inside.
Yeah, that's definitely a good idea.
Yep.
I always find it a little difficult though with the 24-inch trying to get if you want a microwave foot fan, it's a little difficult to get the 24-inch.
Exactly, yeah.
These are good sized cabinets. Lots of storage here.
Lots of storage room, yes, for sure.
And I always encourage people to use 24-inch, more narrow fridges.
Right.
And they could be taller. Right. So you get a decent amount of volume inside.
Exactly.
But at the same time, you save square footage on the floor.
Exactly, yeah.
We're going to shift over here. This is going to be the living space. So how does this space function? Where do you think the couch is going to be? Maybe TV, coffee table?
Right. So Andy, the way we've structured this area is your couch would be your partition wall between the kitchen as well as the living space. We did leave an outlet there for someone to hang there.
Oh, so there's an electrical rough.
There is an electrical outlet right there, and you're able to put your TV bracket right around it. Put the TV up there, it takes up no room on the floor, and you're kind of able to have this whole area as your living space. Another thing we did here is that we added windows on both sides. In the summer months, you obviously want to open both windows, and you get that nice little ventilation in this area while you're relaxing, watching TV, drinking some wine. And the other beauty of this specific area is the nice vaulted ceilings. You get a lot of ceiling height, and that really opens up this space.
Yeah, so let's talk a little bit about that, because you and I were going back and forth on that, whether we wanted to go with open vault or flat ceiling.
Right, that's
At the end of the day, you did choose to go open vault ceiling, and it does make a huge difference in terms of how big the space feels.
Right.
And tell us a little bit about the actual trusses that you had to get done.
Sure. So for this specific garden suite, we used engineered trusses, and we were able to get the truss manufacturers to put a vault right in the middle of the ceiling or in the middle of the trusses. And what that allowed us to do is that not only it left a gap for us to run our electrical wires and different utilities as such, but it also allowed us to really open up the space a lot more than if it was just a traditional flat ceiling. And especially with houses that have a smaller width and depth, when you open up the ceiling height, it really makes the space feel super open.
Absolutely. We always encourage open vault to ceiling wherever possible.
Right. And with engineered trusses, we actually don't have to do a whole lot of structural work. It allows you to have the weight rest on the exterior walls. And it really opens up the need for any structural members inside the house, which gives you a nice little open layout here.
2-bedroom garden suite.
That's it.
Bedroom on either side. Which one is the master bedroom? This one here?
This is the master bedroom.
Check it out.
You first, Andy.
All right, Sam. This is a really bright space here.
Yep. Super sweet. We got a full length, wide, and height patio door right here. Nice big bedroom, vaulted ceilings. We got all possible space you can think of right in this one bedroom.
This is cool. You get up out of bed,
right,
and you just go bare feet and touch the grass.
I think
you get one with nature.
Yeah, this is the way to be one with nature.
Yeah,
lots of natural light, lots of nature elements.
Closet here.
Right.
What is this? 6 feet wide?
This is 6 feet wide. That's exactly it.
Yeah. Tons of storage.
Yeah. So we chose to go with a standard chrome hardware for this house. I think they're evergreen, and they really, live their life, and they don't phase out. Versus a lot of the newer trends with black and such, you see them over time, they get scuffed, and and then the wear and tear on them really adds up.
Yeah, that's a good point. The evergreen factor.
The evergreen factor. Yeah, you look at some of these trim, pieces 30 years from now, they still look brand new.
Yeah.
The silver aspect of it hides defects really well.
Yeah.
For the trim, we chose to go with natural pine baseboards it really adds a good finishing touch to the overall space.
They're way more durable than MDF.
Exactly. Yeah.
Moisture resistant as well.
Exactly. So with MDF, we notice a lot, especially in the bathrooms and more high moisture areas like kitchens, start noticing brown marks on the baseboards and such.
Mm-hmm.
And it's because the MDF just soaks the water right in. And what happens is that they're not very resistant. Other than that, we chose to go with vinyl flooring across the entire garden suite. It's waterproof. It's durable. It has a wear layer. That way you're not actually tearing apart the vinyl flooring by just walking on it.
Right. Yeah, it looks like engineered hardwood.
They do look like engineered hardwood pieces, and then we typically like picking natural colors. With the natural light, it really opens up the whole space a lot more.
All right, Sam, this is officially the second bedroom. It's a little bit smaller.
So it's a bit smaller than the master bedroom. Yeah. But I think this would be more as a kid's bedroom or an office for a couple. Yeah. Definitely a very usable space. So if you notice, this specific bedroom does not have a closet, but what we did instead is that we were able to add a really big closet that's kind of adjacent to this bedroom, and that way you're able to use that closet for storing your personal belongings as well.
Yeah, a lot of people aren't aware that you actually aren't technically required to have a closet in a bedroom.
Right.
You can do an aftermarket wardrobe.
Right.
Or not have a closet at all, right? Like, especially if they're using it as an office.
Right.
So we encourage people to put in the extra bedroom if they can, because it has that flexibility. And these days, especially, having that extra space for potentially work from home scenario. That pretty much covers the main part of this garden suite.
Mm-hmm.
And the most exciting part that I want to go check out is the mechanical room.
Let's do it.
My favorite part of any house, which is the mechanical room. So this one has pretty much everything required in a garden suite and really any house. So let's go through all these individual items for our audience so they're familiar with it.
Right.
Okay, so first thing here is our electrical panel.
Right.
Okay, so you mentioned earlier you're able to get 100 amps in.
Right there, 100 amp main breaker. We were able to get it as a separate meter from the main house coming all the way to the garden suite. Full 100 amp panel right here.
Mm-hmm.
As you can tell, we have ample space. Tomorrow, let's say we want to add an EV charger or anything else that requires more electricity. We have the ability and capability to do it.
Absolutely. I mean, everyone's driving Teslas these days.
That's it.
Okay, that's good. I mean, this is a full-size electrical panel.
Right.
Okay, cool. So moving over here, we have our water line coming in. I noticed this is a riser coming in from the main house.
That's correct.
So this is a 3/4 inch.
That's correct.
Here we have a ball valve. This is open right now. Right. So do we have an extra sub-meter in the main house right now, or is it just...
Not at the moment, but we will be adding one.
Okay, so there's that flexibility there.
Exactly.
So you can potentially turn the water off here or at the main meter in front of the main house. Right?
Exactly.
Okay. Yep, very good. So, in case of emergency, they need to turn the water off in this unit, they can do so right here.
We've left 2 shutoffs, one here and one at the main house.
Yeah, and then we can see these branches going under the slab.
Exactly.
And into the kitchen and bathroom, I presume.
Exactly. So the reason we have these junctions here and not along the way is that in the slab, we're actually not allowed to leave any joints. Mm-hmm. So we actually bring all the joints here and connect to the main water line right here.
Right. Okay.
Same thing with the hot water lines.
And we have the cold water line going into the tankless water here.
That's correct.
And of course, we have the hot water coming out, and this feeds also to the bathroom and the kitchen as well. I like natural gas. I don't think everything necessarily has to be electrical.
Right.
So having that gas line here for the tankless water here, of course, for our furnace.
Exactly.
That's ideal. Okay, so we have the gas line leading to this high efficiency condensing furnace.
Exactly.
And this is a standard furnace.
Standard furnace. Exactly. Yep. It's one of the. It's a common model used in a lot of houses. A standard Goodman, 2-ton regular furnace. That's probably $5,000 in Hamilton.
Yeah, I like the Goodman furnaces. I mean, a lot of people, prefer to have like Carriers or Lennox.
Right.
These work just as good, and
they're great value for money. We do have them at a lot of other properties, and they've done really well. So
yeah. And the great thing about a standard forced air system here is that you don't need a separate heat pump for air conditioning.
Exactly.
This is going to do the job because you already have all the ducting, and you have the air conditioning evaporator here, and then you have the condenser on the outside. Right. And of course, as part of the duct system, you also have this. This is a HRV recovery ventilator.
Yes. And what this unit does, it allows us to replace the air in the house every X amount of minutes with fresh air from outside, especially since these houses are fully insulated and built so airtight, is that you want the fresh air coming in and getting circulated as part of the warm or cold air coming out of the furnace.
Right.
And what this allows for is that every couple minutes, you'll have nice fresh air within the house.
Right. And this ties into the main duct supply and return system
That's
as well.
correct.
So you don't have to install an extra one, right?
Yes, you don't.
Okay.
So these actually tie in right in the furnace, have vents cut to the exterior walls, one for exhaust, one for intake, and it recirculates the air that way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's a very compact unit. A lot of them are really big.
Right.
And for a small garden suite, it's nice to have a more compact unit here.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And even if, let's say, you didn't have a forced air system, if you had a heat pump system, you still need to install these things because with newer houses, they're super well insulated.
Right.
They're super airtight.
Exactly.
So this is a requirement that the building code actually requires.
Right, exactly. So we chose to elevate a lot of these things as much as we could, which really creates some floor area for maintenance and future purposes. Let's say you want to maintain that furnace, you got all the room right in front of it to pull it apart and put it back together.
Right, good stuff. And the thing that I really like about this particular mechanical room is that you have an exterior door that's directly outside. So just anyone servicing here, whether it's a technician or a landlord coming in or somebody else that comes in, they don't have to go through the main house. You can just set up a key here, a lockbox, and they can just come directly in here and not disturb the occupants over there.
The technician can come, do all their work, and be out, and no one is actually even need to be notified.
Yeah. All right. So right now we're going to get into the part that everyone wants to know.
Here we are.
Costs, right? Okay. So before we get into the actual garden suite build and all the individual systems and components, why don't you give us a little background about the overall property, how much you paid to acquire it, and some of the rental costs, and maybe some of the rental amounts that you're getting as well.
Right. So we actually purchased this property back in March last year, I believe, for $640,000. And eventually the goal is to turn this into 3 full units, one being the garden suite and 2 units in the main house. What we're really looking to get in terms of rents, the garden suite somewhere around $2,300, upstairs unit, main house around $2,400, basement unit around $1,400, obviously plus minus $200 on each. I think the rents are going to total up to somewhere in the $6,000 to $7,000 range. Given this purchase price and the amount of renovations we've done, I think it's a fantastic return.
Yeah. Okay. So given that purchase price and your expected target, we want to have a budget for the garden suite. And now that you've completed everything, you're going to give us the total cost. Before we do that, and I think this is going to be beneficial for you guys, the viewers, is for us to actually break down the individual components so that when you're going out there and, if you want to manage it on your own or you're speaking to a specific trade, it'll be good to know approximately how much it would cost for a 550 square foot garden suite. Right? That's correct. Okay. So let's go through all those individual items. So we start with excavation for the footings, foundation, and the service trenching. That was $16,000.
That's correct.
Dirt haulage and disposal. A lot of people don't think about that.
That's
taking out the dirt. That's $4,000. The survey points. Actually, some people consider that to be part of the soft cost. But you include it here in the hard cost, which is excavation, footing, and foundations, the actual survey locations.
That's correct.
That was $4,000. Footing and foundation. So this is really the main foundation. You went with a standard foundation system.
That's correct.
You formed the footings and foundations, and then the formwork removed.
That's correct.
That total, $35,000. Floor insulation. So that is the 2-inch insulation that's under the slab.
That's right. The rigid insulation plus your radon barrier.
Okay. So that's radon barrier. Okay. So that's $4,000. Radon barrier is actually a requirement now. The gravel and the slab, $8,000. So that was a separate concrete contractor that came in for that. Okay. The trusses that we mentioned, $3,500.
That's the manufacturer of the trusses.
And did that include engineering of it as well for the city?
It did. So that included the design, the drawings, the submissions we made to the city, as well as manufacturing, plus delivery.
Okay. Lumber for the whole thing was $8,000.
That's correct.
And the framing labor was $8,000.
That's correct.
That's actually a really good number. Like back in COVID, that would have been triple the price.
Oh, easily. Yeah, 100%. We look at 25,000 there.
Okay. Some of the outside stuff, roof, waterproofing, and shingles, $7,000. Eaves, fascias, and soffits, $10,000. And siding is $14,000. That's actually quite a bit for a lot of the exterior work. A lot of people don't budget properly.
Don't factor that in. Yes, exactly.
Yeah. Okay. Windows, exterior doors, and patio, $12,000. Plumbing, 15,000. Obviously, we're rounding up and down.
Right, exactly.
Everything is landing on 1,000.
Yeah.
But it's like give everyone a rough idea.
Exactly. They're all rounded up numbers. And another thing with most of these numbers, they actually include the material, the delivery, as well as the installations.
Right. Okay. So HVAC, which is a standard furnace plus the heat recovery ventilator as part of it, the air conditioning, 18,000. Electrical system that includes the bringing the line here, the panel, and all the wiring throughout.
Right.
You have that at 16,000.
Right.
Some of the building envelope stuff, insulation, vapor barrier, which is spray foam, and some bats insulation. We have that 11,000.
Yep.
Now we're getting into the finishing.
Right.
Drywall, material 6,000. The labor for mudding and taping 4,000.
Right.
And vinyl flooring 3,000. That is both.
That's material and installation.
Wow. Okay. That's a pretty good price.
Yeah.
Bathroom finishes, so tiles, toilet, tub, vanity. That's 8,000.
Right.
Painting is 5,000. Kitchen cabinets and countertops, everything here. Wow, 6,000. That's really good.
Yeah, no, it was a great price. Yeah, a lot of these guys are trades that we work with on a day-to-day basis across all our renovations. So we do get some pretty good pricing on these.
That's good.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of times, because you have those relationships, right? People go directly to you and makes a lot more sense. Okay, so we're at the home stretch here. Doors and trim, we have at 5,000. And then we have some miscellaneous here, some equipment rental, garbage disposal, and maybe sometimes some additional labor.
Right. Some basic things, landscaping, gravel, you name it, they all kind of come into one miscellaneous bucket because they're smaller amounts. They're, 2,000, 3,000, 2,000, 3,000. And then, so we like kind of grouping them as other, since they're not big ticket, $18, $20, $30,000 items. So it doesn't kind of make sense to list 30 things for, 1,000 each.
Right.
And give you a lump sum figure for that.
Okay. So the grand total that we have is 250,000.
That's it, Andy.
All right.
Cost.
That's great. So, I mean, you are a Ontario registered builder.
That's
so
right.
If someone were to contact you to assist them in the build, obviously you have the experience and you have the contacts for it. Is that sort of the cost that you would be?
That's the cost that we would. Yes, exactly. That's a cost that we would build it out for a customer at.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay. I think that's a great deal. All right. So thank you so much for sharing that information and those numbers. That's going to be incredibly helpful for people to really understand the real costs associated with it. Right? Because so many people have no idea.
Right. And I think a big part of these big projects is budgeting, and you really want to know the budget or how much money you're going to need before you start the project. Once you're in the project, it's really hard to come up with funding per se, or pull money where you never expected it. So it's really important to understand what the budget of your entire project is going to look like, how soon you're going to start making those returns, and how soon you start seeing that money come back.
Right. Yeah. Excellent. Okay, so we'll wrap up with a few questions here. These are kind of questions that we always have to ask. First one is any major challenges here that you encountered throughout this process?
Andy, I think the biggest challenge here was just really working with the city and yourself and understanding what the city interprets as new laws for these garden suites and what they really want to see during the builds. Garden suites are particularly new in the construction environment. They've only been here for maybe less than a year, maybe 2 years, right? So they're still fairly new depending on city. And I think the city inspectors, the city planners, examiners, and kind of all contractors and designers like yourself as well are really trying to understand what the city is looking for. And during this specific project, we've had the inspectors go back, check on some regulations, a lot of things that we go back and forth with, and then we kind of come to a conclusion. Okay, this is how we understand or interpret that it needs to be done. Some little things like fire separation, how the basement walls are done in this specific case. They're frost walls. They're not actually full 8 feet tall walls or 9 feet tall walls as we would see in regular builds. With our experience in building standard construction homes that are city service, here's a home construction, it's a new house. They're very straightforward. They've been doing them for over the last 100 years, right? So there's a very set standard way that they're done. With garden suites, it's a bit of a learning curve.
It gets smaller and they get more confused.
Exactly. they get smaller and more confusing. And I've had trades show up and they're kind of questioning where the work's going on because they show up to the house and they're like, hey, 265. And they're like, well, did you walk 3 steps to the backyard? And did you check out the second house there? That's the one we're building, right?
Right.
So I think separation in the lots is another big thing that we're learning. The other thing this year was the weather back in March. If you remember, it was just 20 or 30 rain days in the entire month, right?
Oh,
So
yeah.
we did finish the footing and foundations, and we got 20 rain days. So no way to backfill, no way to continue until the weather settled a little bit, right?
Yeah.
So it's one of those things that not in our hands, right? Playing with Mother Nature here.
Yeah. You really have to kind of allocate a little extra for
Exactly.
those things that are
Right.
expected, right?
Exactly, yeah. So when we build out the timelines for these projects, we always add the stipulation that, hey, if it's something that's weather related, it's not something we can control anymore, right? Running bobcats and, a foot deep in water, right? They're going to get stuck, right?
You got to figure out a way to control the weather, man.
Yeah, I know. I'm going to put a tarp at the top, right? Yeah, seriously. If only we could, right?
Yeah. Very cool. Okay. Anything else you would have done differently here?
I think everything went really smooth. I think we had a really great team on this project. All the trades, you yourself as the designer, us as kind of the finishers. Really, I think the whole team worked really well to bring this one home. Yeah.
I appreciate the kind words.
Yeah.
I didn't think to say that. So, Sam, thank you so much. If someone wants to connect with you, work with you on their build, how can they get a hold of you?
Right. So our company is called Skyway Group, and my email is sam@skyway.ca. You can always reach out to our office at 416-732-3139. That's our office phone number.
We'll put all that information on the description.
Right. And other than that, you're always welcome to reach out to Andy, and he will supply you with our information.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Sam, appreciate you being so generous with your information.
Anytime.
Thank you very much.
Yep. Been a pleasure having you.
Well, I hope you guys enjoyed this video and are now inspired to build your own detached garden suite. It definitely makes sense to build a structure on land you already own and don't have to purchase and spend money on developing. In many cases, all you need is a building permit. So let us know what you think in the comments below. As always, thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video. To learn more about the Max Suite strategy, download our free guides at suiteadditions.com and get started. And if you enjoyed this video, here's another great one for you.